Hey guys, chapter 2, lesson 3, percents and decimals. There are only two goals, and they're pretty much the same thing, just in reverse. The first goal is to write percents as decimals, and the second goal is to write decimals as percents. All right, so let's look at the first goal, changing percents to decimals. The best way to do this is just do it. I mean, best way to learn it is to do it, so here we go. Looking at page 110, example number 1, they give you 56%. Okay, easy peasy. The goal is to have it turned into a decimal number. Okay, the first method I'm going to show you is changing the percent to a fraction. Okay, so here's the deal. 56% is 56 per 100. All right, 56 per 100, but you can also say it 56 hundredths. Okay, now back to this. This is less than 100%. And if you have less than 100%, that means you don't have the whole thing. In this case, it's really close to 50%, so you have like half, right? So it's like saying, if we were thinking about money, this would be like 56 cents or something like that. But anyways, I bring it up because you're going to have to use a 0 to tell me that there's nothing there. I mean, it's a placeholder saying that you don't have a whole number. Okay, so 0 and, now how many place values are you going to have? Okay, in case you forgot, what I do is I count the zeros. 1, 2. So tenths, hundredths. 1, 2. So 56 hundredths. And that's it. That really is it. Okay? But unfortunately, it won't always be that easy. Okay? So the other way is, let's just call this fraction method. I'm going to show you the decimal method. Okay? Well, all you have to do is move the decimal point. Okay. We have 56%. Okay, let me remind you something. 56%. 56 is a whole number. Right? So, as a whole number, it would look like that, right? And if you had a decimal point, it would look like this. 56.0. Okay, so the idea is the same here. Even though you don't see the decimal point in the 0, it's there. Now, why didn't they put it there? When you have a decimal point and a 0, that's telling you you don't have any parts. It's all whole numbers. It's all whole pieces. You don't have any parts or pieces at all. It's just all whole numbers. All whole pieces. 1, 2, 3, all whole pieces. I can't stress that enough. So what they do is, just to make it easier, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could write 56.0% to let the person know that it's just a whole number, right? And let you know that you don't have any pieces or parts. But that's awkward. At least for me, I'm not used to that. But if you're okay with it, fine. But anyways, what I was going to say is, knowing that there's actually a decimal point and a 0 with a whole number, you rewrite it like that. And what you're going to do now, you're going to move the decimal point. You're going to move this little dot 2 spaces to the left. Now, I call it a little dot only to get rid of the fear that some of you might have, saying, oh my God, decimal numbers, I don't get it. It's just a dot. You're just moving that little dot, 1, 2 spaces to the left. So now you have 56, but put a 0 here, again, to let me know that you don't have a whole number. Okay? So, there it is. Now, remember what I said earlier? I'm calling this decimal point movement. But what I said earlier was, looking at this, since it's less than 100%, right? I don't have the whole thing. If I had 100%, just a quick reminder, 100% would be the equivalent to $1. Okay? And that would mean I have 100 pennies to give me that $1. If I have less than 100%, I have less than 100 pennies. I have 56 pennies. And 56 pennies would be 56 cents. Now, I'm using money because people tend to remember money more than anything else. But if that's not your thing, write whatever it takes for you to remember that this is less than a whole. 56% is less than one whole. It's less than 100%, less than one whole. All right? Okay. Number 2. Another example, number 2. We have 8%. Okay, 8%. 8 per 100. 8 per 100. I don't have any whole numbers, so it's 0 point, and that decimal point means I don't have a whole number, I don't have a whole piece, but I do have parts. Now 800, excuse me, two place values, 1, 2, tenths, hundredths. Now, be sure you know how to do this. At the top is an 8. So if you do this, what did you just write? You just wrote 80. That's not the same thing. When you have a single digit number like that, you're just going to have to fill in the empty spots. There's my 8, and I'll put zeros in front of it, and we're good to go. 8 hundredths. That's it. Okay. 8%. Again, 8 is a whole number, so I'm just going to add the decimal point. It's really 8.0%. Guys, it's really not so odd to see this as a 0.0. If you look at banking commercials or credit card commercials, they always have 19 point something or some odd number with a decimal point and part after it. So it's not that hard. But okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to move this decimal point to the left, 2 spots. 1, 2, there's my decimal point now. If there's an empty spot, I'm going to fill it in with a 0, like a place value holder. And I'll put a 0 in front, telling me I don't have any whole numbers. Right? So now I write 0.08. And I take away the percent. Because now we're talking about regular numbers. Okay? And think about it. This is 8 cents. 8 pennies. You need 100 pennies to get $1. 8 pennies, 8%, 8 hundredths. It's all connected. Okay. Let's do some more. All right. We're going to go ahead and do the got it's. Okay. Technical difficulties. Camera's going crazy. Done. All right. If you look at the got it's, at the very top, see if we can do this right. There you go. Page 110. Letter A. We have 32%. Okay, guys, now on the day of the quiz, you can decide how you want to do this. You can use the fraction method, where you have a transition fraction, or you can just straight out change it to a decimal number and just move that bad boy to the left. Okay? For this one, I'll do both, just so you can see it. Here's my transition fraction, 32 hundredths. And by now, 32 hundredths, there it is. 32 cents, right? 32 pennies out of 100 to make $1. We don't have enough for $1, that's why it's a 0. 32. Okay. Going the other way around, 32%. I'm going to do things a little differently, a little faster. I'm taking away the percent symbol, adding a decimal point, and a 0. Moving the decimal point to the left 2 spaces. Same thing. Okay, so you decide which one you want to do, which method that is. Transition fraction, where you have a fraction in between, or just go ahead and straight out move the decimal point. Each one has its benefits, okay? So you have to decide what's best for you. Letter B, 6%. 6 per 100. That's 6 hundredths. It really can be that quick. Okay? Last one, letter C. 93%. You know what? This is almost $1. This is going to be like 93 cents. I'm going to go ahead and change it to a decimal number. I'm going to take away the percent. Now I have 93.0. Move the decimal point to the left 2 spaces. 0.93. And that is that, my friends. All right. Goal number 2. We're going backwards. Decimals, 2%. Okay? Decimals, 2%. I'm just going to go ahead straight to the got it's. This is got it. page 112, I believe. Excuse me, 111. Letter D. All right, we have 0.47. All right. Same thing. We can use a fraction. We can use a transition fraction if we want, the fraction method. Read what it says. 0 and 47 hundredths. Did you hear what I just said? 47 hundredths. 47 hundredths is 47 per hundred. 47%. Pretty straightforward, right? But here's the other way. 0.47. All right. You take that decimal point, you go to the right, 2 spaces. Now you have 47.0, and you just add the percent. You take away the 0.0, and you add the percent. That's it. In a moment, I'll show you what you're actually doing when you're dividing, or sorry, why you're moving the decimal point to the left or the right, okay? In just a moment, I'll show you what's going on here. But really, that's it. Now, personally, when I see a decimal number, for me, it's just easier to move the decimal point and add the percent. But you do what works best for you. I'll do one more. Letter E. We have 0.73. 73 hundredths. 73%. And that's it. But let me move the decimal point. I know I should be doing this in pencil, but I feel confident enough that I can do this in pen. Okay? Move the decimal point to the right. Becomes 73.0. Remove the 0.0. Voila. Same thing. Okay. Let me, I'll do one more, and I'll show you why the whole movement thing works the way it does. Okay, this is letter F, same page. I realize you can't see it. Let me move this down. F. We have 0.5. Okay. This is 5/10, right? You're like, what's going on? If we want a percent, we want the denominator to be 100. Remember that? You scale up by a factor of 10. Scale up by a factor of 10. 50 hundredths, 50%. Let me do it the other way. Okay. 0.5. I'm going to move the decimal point to the right. Add a decimal point and a 0. Just so you can see something. So now it's 50.0. But if you remove the 0.0 and replace it with a percent symbol, there you go. Same thing. Guys, I realize as I'm saying this, you might want to go back and add some of your own notes, like little arrows. Okay, don't forget this. Don't forget this means that. Okay, because these are going to be your notes that you can use. All right? Now, I want you to see something. 5/10, right? 5/10. Right? I just wanted to remind you why these two are equivalent. Right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, the whole movement to the right and the left. Again, hundredths place value. 1, 2. You're multiplying it by 100, basically. You know. Let's see if this works. All right, look. We have 23%. Okay? I'm going to write this question. Why does this work? 23%. I want to change it to a decimal. Right? 23% is 23 per 100. And what you're doing is you're dividing 23 by 100. So I can't make groups of 100 out of 23. I had a decimal point and a 0. Yeah? Okay. Now let me see if I can get a little closer. I realize maybe I can't see that. All right. Let me use pencil here just in case I make mistakes. How many groups of 100 can I make out of 230? 2, right? 100 times 2, 200. I subtract. I have 30 left over. I add another 0. 3 times 100 is 300. So look what just happened. 23 hundredths, 23% is equal to 0.23. I forgot to add a 0 here. But look what just happened. If this is 23, here, watch. 23.0% is really what's going on. 0.23. It's all about moving that decimal point. I'm moving 2 places to the left because I'm breaking this up into 100 pieces. And if you're breaking something up into 100 pieces, the pieces will get smaller. So you're breaking up 23, right, into 100 pieces. You're dividing it by 100. You're breaking it up into 100 pieces. So each piece becomes 0.23, right? It's like saying, you know what? Let's think of this as money. $23. $23 divided. If you have to divide $23 amongst 100 people, each person is going to get 23 cents. So when you move the decimal point to the left, you're making the number smaller, right? And it's 2 place values because you have 2 zeros. So you got to take care of that. I mean, that's the way I remember it. Okay. But that's pretty much it. What's going on? They're the same thing. Now, if you go the other way around, 23 cents. If I want a percent, that means, hey, you know what? I want 100 of these. 100 of these. Right? I want 100 of these groups of 23 cents. If I do that, that gives me 23. $23. You know, again, let's think of money. That gives me $23. 23 whole dollars would be the same as, well, 23.0%. Okay? I'm hoping this makes sense. But if you see, since you want more, you're multiplying 2 place values, you move it 2 place values to the right. That's what's really going on. So let me see if I can summarize this. Oh, you know what? Let me go back to the page I just showed you. If this doesn't make sense to you, why it works, why they move it to the left, why it moved to the right, that's okay. That's okay. It'll make more sense to you later. But just to rehash, going from percent to a decimal, you're dividing by 100. And if you're dividing, again, you're making something smaller. You don't want this whole number anymore. You're breaking it up. Whatever the numerator is, you're breaking it up into 100 pieces. Hence the 2 place values. You're making something smaller. Now, if you have a decimal number and you want a percent, that means you want 100 copies of it. So you multiply by 23, and that gives you the whole number here for this example. But it's all about moving that decimal point. All right? So let me summarize this as best I can. It's all about the decimal point. It really is. It's all about the decimal point. So It's all about the decimal point. Now, you're either going to make a little wall here. You're going to go to the right if you're making a percent, or the left if you're making a decimal. Okay? Two spaces. Oh, I look like Tupac. No, I'm not going to write Tupac. I meant to write two spaces. Not that there's anything wrong with Tupac, but that's not going to help you on a quiz. Two spaces. If you don't know who Tupac is, don't worry about it. Two spaces. Okay? Let me give you an example. If I give you 25, 0.25. It's a decimal, obviously. I want a percent. I'm going to go in this direction. Two spaces. Again, the decimal point, that is. So decimal point goes to the right, two spaces. 1, 2. Well, really, you know what? I kind of skipped a step because I'm already assuming you get it. But just a reminder, this is really 25.0. Yes? You don't have to add the 0.0, but you definitely have to add the percent, and that really just becomes 25%. I realize this doesn't make sense, but eventually you will get to this point where you don't have to keep adding the 0.0. Okay? 25%. Okay, let's go the other way around. Let's say I give you... Same thing, let's use the same 0.25. But this time it's a percent. Okay. I want a decimal. So I'm going to go this way. Guys, this is very important. Listen to me very closely when I say this. This is a percent. The minute I take it, I have to convert this to a decimal number. Yes, there's a decimal point there, but it's not a decimal number, not in the way you think. So please follow the rules. Okay? One way or another, you got to move that thing to the left. So let me rewrite this. I take off the percent symbol, and I move the decimal point two spaces to the left. Fill in empty spots with zeros. So now it becomes 0.0025. Okay, so this is the yes way. Do not do this where, oh, I have 0.25%. I want a decimal number? Oh, all I got to do is take off the percent. Ta-da! I'm done. No. No. This is the no way. Okay? Yes way? No way. Follow the rules. Let me put that here. Follow the rule. The two-space rule. Okay? Seriously. You're either moving the decimal point to the right or the left. Two spaces. All right? I hope this makes sense. Ask me questions if you have questions, obviously.